Deep Six Wrestling.
Hi there. It's everybody's favorite Deep Sixer, the glorious Robbie Rotten here, aka the glorious one, aka Mr. Money in the Bank. I'm here today to debut a new segment where, after every pay-per-view, I do reviews of said pay-per-view, and I tell you what I thought of each match, with my rating of either glorious if I thought the match was great, or rotten if I thought the match was terrible. So without further ado, I will be doing my review of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view from Hartford, Connecticut. First up, on the kickoff show, we have Daniel Bryan and Rowan, who are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions currently, versus Raw's The Usos. This match was fine. I mean, both teams are very talented. Daniel Bryan especially. And Rowan looked great in this match. But there were no real stakes. And the Usos came away with a win, kind of predictably. So I wouldn't really rate this glorious or rotten. It kind of falls in the middle somewhere. But it worked for me. It was a good match. Next up, starting the main card, we had the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This was probably the best women's Money in the Bank ladder match so far. There were a lot of really good spots, including Ember Moon hitting the Eclipse off the top of the ladder on Natalya, which was particularly awesome. Everybody looked really, really great in this match, and Bayley came away with a victory in a fantastic move. I would definitely give this match a rating of glorious. And I think everything went really well here. The following match was the U.S. Championship match between Rey Mysterio and Samoa Joe. And needless to say, this was a very short match, about a minute long, and Rey Mysterio came away with the victory. I don't quite understand why this match was so short. Definitely gets it rotten for me, because very little even happened. I understand maybe Samoa Joe suffered an injury of some sort, but the finish was terrible. Samoa Joe's shoulder was clearly off the mat, and this was just basically a build to, I believe, Dominic, Rey Mysterio's son, debuting in the future, but didn't work for me. Next up, we had the steel cage match between The Miz and Shane McMahon. Well, I am a big fan of both of these guys. I think they're both doing some of their best career work right now. But unfortunately, when you see a steel cage come into play, often the results are underwhelming, and here it was no different. I wouldn't rate this either glorious or rotten. This was somewhere in the middle. They worked hard and they tried to make it work, but Shane McMahon is very limited in the ring. And steel cage is a very, very limiting gimmick. I've never really seen a spectacular steel cage match, and this was no exception. They tried hard, but it didn't work out. And Shane McMahon winning again is just not the right move, in my opinion. Following this, we had the Cruiserweight Championship match between Tony Nese and Ari Daivari. And I have to say that I honestly did not watch this full match. The crowd really turned on it within the first 2 minutes, and that kind of killed the vibe for me, so I took my leave. And it's unfortunate because I know Tony Nese is very talented, and he works very hard, but this just was not the right challenger for him to start off his title reign with, in my opinion. So hopefully he does better. Next we had the Raw Women's Championship match between Becky Lynch, the Man, and Lacey Evans. Now, as this was pretty much Lacey Evans' first showing on the main roster, not counting the Royal Rumble, I thought she looked very good. I'm sure Becky definitely helped her. She still needs some work in the ring, but she's really got it down on the mic and with the character work, and I really enjoyed what she was able to do. The match was a little shorter than it should have been, but I thought it worked for me, and I would very much looking forward to see what they do together moving forward. Immediately following this was the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. And these two have excellent chemistry together. This was very short, but they worked well with what they had. But it was clear this match was never really meant to be a barn burner, as it was all meant to put the new feud of Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch over strong again by having Lacey interrupt and cost Becky the SmackDown Women's Championship, only for Charlotte and Lacey to beat down Becky and Bayley to come out, beat up both Lacey and Charlotte, and then cash in her Money in the Bank championship. And this moment was absolutely glorious. Bayley is one of the most hardworking and excellent competitors in the female division, and she absolutely deserved this moment. It was great to see her on top again. The fans truly embraced her, and it was really nice to see. Definitely glorious from me. Following this, we had Roman Reigns versus Elias, which was not really much of a match. Elias attacked Roman backstage with his guitar, then proceeded to come out into the arena and play a song, which, honestly, I agreed with the song, kind of. I was in attendance for this pay-per-view with my friend Jiu-Jitsu Joey, and Hartford, Connecticut is not my favorite place. So, anyway, Elias retreated, and Roman Reigns came out and hit him with a Superman punch and a spear. The match was over in about 9 seconds. I wish that they had either gone with a real match and made Elias look a little competitive, or had just not made it a match and had Roman just hit him with a spear and end the segment. So for me, this gets a rotten grade. Next up, we had the Universal Championship match between AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. Now this is what wrestling is all about. Two of the most talented performers in the world going at it. It was quite a spectacle. These two did not disappoint. They lived up to the hype, and they burned it down, no pun intended. Seth Rollins came away with the victory here, as he should. And these two put on an absolutely glorious match. I am privileged to have seen it live, and that's all I have to say about that. Next, the Lucha House Party came out for what was apparently supposed to be a 6-man tag match, only for Lars Sullivan to come out and absolutely decimate them. I suppose this was just supposed to be a palate cleanser between the two World Championship matches, but this did not work for me. I'd give this a rotten grade. Next up, we have the WWE Championship match between Kofi Kingston and Kevin Owens. It is truly amazing that Kofi Kingston is the world champion in 2019. And this was his first pay-per-view title defense, and it didn't disappoint. This was a very good match. It could have been something truly special with a few more minutes, but it was very good. Kofi is truly showing that he belongs on top of the card, and Kevin Owens is always great. This was glorious.
Glorious!
For the main event, we have the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. This was an absolute car wreck of a match, as a Money in the Bank ladder match should be. And there were some insane things that happened in this match. The sunset flip powerbomb that Andrade delivered to Finn Balor onto a ladder from the top of another ladder was ridiculous. The Spanish fly from Mustafa Ali, again to Andrade off of a ladder, another insane spot. Finn Balor was also driven onto a ladder with a choke slam. Drew McIntyre threw Ricochet over the top rope through a ladder. Insanity. And then the swerve ending of Brock Lesnar showing up and winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. Overall, the match was absolutely glorious.
Absolutely.
One of the best Money in the Bank ladder matches I've seen in quite some time. While the ending does leave a rotten taste in my mouth, I have to give the event and the match overall a glorious rating. Thank you for watching. I have been the glorious Robbie Rotten. Have a glorious day.